Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Do We Know Them? We've made it to episode 141, and it's going to be an episode.
Yeah, we're having a bit of a, what would you call this, an off day?
Yeah.
We're trying.
I'm kind of tired. And if you're wondering, like, oh my God, have you guys picked the researcher? Why aren't they helping you with topics to make things easier? Well, I mean, you guys, a lot of you have applied, and it's a process.
I knew a lot of people would apply. I just didn't know that many people would apply. I was like, oh, interesting.
Know.
And that so many people would seem like such good fits. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to take longer than I thought.
Yeah, so we're working on it. And in the meantime, we still are scrounging for topics at times, like today.
We're trying our best. Honestly, what I will say is that we possess a very important talent to be able to talk about pretty much anything for an extent, like way too long, like longer than anybody should talk about that topic.
Funny you talk about possessing talents, because we also possess powers. You guys, we've told you before that we're witches, and like, I mean, everyone's like, oh, ha, you're no,
it's not funny.
We're really witches, or we're psychics. I'm not really sure what to label it.
If this was the 1800s, we would be on a stake right now. Like, seriously, this is crazy.
You might remember last episode, a lot of you were big fans of the Cosmo and Wanda reference, which, thank you for the compliments on the editing, because I spent far too long, the poof and everything. If there's a weird outline, it's because this sweatshirt's just too green.
Oh, well, you got to keep it on now because we're dedicated to our cosplay as Cosmo and Wanda.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so
you guys, when I started looking for those assets, I Googled the Fairly Odd Parents, and we had filmed 2 days prior, and 1 day ago it said, was it the sequel is coming out?
They're like relaunching Fairly Odd Parents, essentially.
I literally was like, what do you mean?
You sent that to me like middle of the night, and I woke up like scared. Like I was like, I don't know what kind of thing this is.
What are the odds? Like that show has not aired in like decades. And then also we never talk about it. Like that's not like a thing we reference all the time.
Well, if you guys don't know our like prophecy, is that what it's called? I don't know. If you don't know what our talents are about, let me explain it to you. Basically, we have noticed a pattern where we will talk about something. Let's say it's something that hasn't been talked about in a long time. And after we talk about it, something happens with that topic.
Yeah, basically it's like an uncontrollable manifestation power that we don't know how it's going to manifest.
We're powerful manifestors, but we don't know how to control it at all, because I would just be like money, but it hasn't worked for that. When that happened, I was like, oh, you've got to be shitting me. What a CCR follow-up. I love it. We've come a long way. We're like showing up on CCR's For You page, even though she blocked us. Oh my God, Do We Know Them is a household name at this point.
I said to someone, I was like, I'm beginning to think Jesse and I might be like witches or something.
That actually might be valid, because every time we talk about something really bizarre happens with that topic after. And it's not even just because it's currently unfolding. It's like some weird...
No, we have like a weird manifesting situation happening. Yeah. And I mean,
that's our vibes.
Only working in our favor right now, but it could go south one day.
Oh God, Jesus.
But for some reason it worked with the Fairly Odd Parents, because
it's just weird. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm not saying that we caused the reboot to happen. I'm saying that we get like weird messages from the universe. Like we had both bought those sweaters the day before compulsively.
You think it's like a reverse thing?
Well, I think that we're just in tune with some sort of energies happening. And like when something's about to happen, that's why we get the feeling like we should talk about it.
Oh, that actually makes more sense than us like causing the events.
I don't think we caused it, because they announced it like the day after. I think we knew it was happening before the world knew.
Got it. We knew, but we didn't know.
We just felt the urge to buy those sweaters.
How, like all of the things that had to come together for that to happen.
No, it freaks me out. I can't think about it too much. It weirds me out. Like, why would we both buy sweaters that are the exact colors of Cosmo and Wanda the day before we filmed?
We don't wear those colors either.
I don't even wear sweaters right now. It's summer. I don't know. It's hot as hell. Like I don't regularly wear sweaters.
Well, no, but we also like don't wear neon
ever. Yeah, no, there's so many weird elements. I feel like people are gonna think we're dumb, but honestly, I feel in my spirit we have a power.
What are some of our past premonitions?
I was gonna say, I'm trying to think of it and I don't know. I can't think of any on the top of my head.
There was the Ace family.
What do we think about with them? What do we say with
them? I don't know. We just hadn't covered them in a really long time.
Frankie,
like 2 days.
Ruby Frankie, 8 passengers. I don't think I told you this, but Joey was telling me, my brother, he's like, have you gone back to look at your Ruby Frankie episode, like your first ever episode? And I was like, no, not really. He's like, well, someone pointed out that you had like weird premonitions in it where you were saying like something's gonna happen, like the kids are gonna escape. Obviously we didn't know what was gonna happen or that it was actually happening, but we were saying that the kids would need to escape.
I mean, I guess that's also just been a lot of it. It's that we predicted things in the future, but like kind of vague predictions, but then they just happen to come true like sooner.
It's pretty impressive for people who aren't psychics. No, I just think it's cool. It's I don't want to be scared of our powers. I want to embrace them. I want to like learn how to harness them like Twitches.
Well, I've said we need to be careful, though, because clearly we're very powerful, so we can't just be out here saying anything.
But if you guys want to stay up to date and even like pre-date dramas, you better subscribe to this channel, honey, because...
Join the coven.
No, don't say that. People are going to be like, ah. Hello, mortals, and welcome back to Do We Know Them, episode 87. It's me, the witch. I don't know. I don't know what. I did not plan that, and it just came out really weird. All right. Anyway, that's our Fairly Odd Parents thing that we unfortunately hadn't discovered that in our last episode. So we're just filling you guys in on how powerful we are. Anyway.
Yes.
Moving on to today's topics. I gathered them, okay? Cut me a fucking break or whatever the saying is. So before we start, we have to decide what we're going to start with. Are we going to start with Raven Symone or the TikTok billionaire?
No, I think go with the TikTok one.
Oh, all right. Okay, so this is revolving an influencer by the name of Lost Etiquette, and she has 80,000 followers, so she's not necessarily like a giant influencer by any means, but you know, she has a TikTok and she posts, in my opinion, very like cookie cutter, like those people that just always look perfect. Everything's always great. Everything's always beautiful in their life. I can never subscribe to someone like that. I'm like, bitch, like, you make me feel like a flaming hot pile of garbage. And I know that's not maybe her intention. It just is what it is, okay? I need to follow people who are relatable or I'm gonna go crazy.
I just am like, they make me feel like, oh shit.
Like a lazy slob. Yeah, that's how
not
I
even
feel.
a lazy slob, like dirty or something. Like, even though I'm like not, I feel like they're like everything is like, they've never had a mess in their life anywhere.
The ones that really trip me out, because like for her, she just married this guy. She's really young. I understand how you can keep a house clean, like being a single person or married or whatever. The people that have kids and act like this is their life, freak me out. I'm like, oh bitch, I know you're lying.
It reminds me of the one that's like one of the trad wife ones where she's always just like baking in the morning and just like longing.
Nara Smith. Oh my God. I actually really like Nara Smith. I think she's really sweet and all that stuff, but it does paint a depiction of a life that to me, I cannot fathom is reality for people. Maybe it is, but like in my experience, more often than not, if I want the house perfectly clean, I have to constantly be cleaning. It is not a one a day thing. It's like every 30 minutes I'm cleaning.
That I feel like is the same for me, and I live alone.
Well, right, because shit just gets out of place. Or like, for instance, you clean the counter and all of a sudden you want to make yourself a sandwich, there's fucking crumbs everywhere. Like, are you gonna just like scrub the counter every 30 seconds? Probably not.
I feel like specifically vacuuming, I mean, yes, I have a dog, so that has a lot to do with it. But like, I will spend like an hour vacuuming the entire place, like every nook and cranny, and then literally the next day, it's like it never happened. And I'm like,
right. I've heard
mean?
it described as like cleaning tasks are difficult for so many people because they're cyclical. Like there is a cycle. You always have more to do. So when I see people that are spotless clean, or at least that's all they show on the internet, I either think it's a lie or they are like literally cleaning 24/7, which is impossible because how do you clean 24/7 and make cereal from scratch? Impossible.
Well, they have to have a cleaning lady.
Okay, even then, does she live with you? Because I have a cleaning lady, but like she comes once every 2 weeks.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, even if I was cleaning constantly, it wouldn't be as clean as these places.
No.
But I'm seeing it.
No. So anyway, she has that kind of lifestyle. Very, very clean. They call it like a clean aesthetic, right? And it just so happens to make me feel like a dirty bitch. So that's why I don't really look at it. But that's my prerogative. Long story short, she just married into a billionaire family.
Must be nice.
The family's name is the Asplund family. I'm going to just pronounce it that way and pretend that that's the right way to pronounce it, okay? They are America's 103rd wealthiest family. They have a net worth of $2.6 billion. And basically they I think immigrated from Sweden, and they have a company that's grown into an international leader in tree and vegetation management services to the utility industry. Zero clue what the fuck that means, do you?
It's like, so they're like a landscaping company that's just like super legit.
Or if they do have a landscaping company and then it says management services to the utility industry, it sounds like a government contracted thing. I have no idea. But anyway, that's why they're so rich. So she just married into this family, and this is not important. I just saw it. I wanted to share. Sorry. They had a very extravagant wedding. Obviously, her dress is stunning. She looks stunning.
As you do if you're a billionaire.
Yeah. I think they did like pre-wedding yoga or something, and she like left with like several Tory Burch bags, and I'm like, what is this life? I've never experienced that.
Yeah, no.
But what's really funny is her caption made me chuckle. It says, "So thankful for that grungy bar in Prague where I met you on a random Tuesday night. Who would have known?" I'm like, Not me.
The only grungy place she's ever been.
It wasn't grungy at all. It's like super high end. It's like, oh, and it's in Prague. It just sounded very extravagant, and she was trying to like,
very bougie.
You know, make it seem very like relatable by being like the grungy little place in Prague. Anyway, so the reason we are gathered here today is because she decided to message someone, because once you get married, for most people, your last name changed. I didn't change my last name.
Kept smiles.
Can you imagine? No, but a lot of people do change their last name. And so she did. Very soon after she got married, because let me look at when those wedding videos were, but it was very recent. Okay, she started posting wedding videos like 3 days ago. She got married within the last few weeks. But this was posted 4 days ago by a Reddit user called StringSilly2839, which presumably is the person in these messages that's being messaged by Lost Etiquette. I think her full name is Catherine Drisk Asplund. Asplund.
Sounds like a billionaire name.
I almost choked on that. It does, right? Yeah. So this person writes, this just happened today. I use this account to post and archive photos I don't want to post on my main account. I thought this was a scam at first. I would have given her my username for free, but her attitude threw me off. So she posted this in the NYC influencer snark. So her username is Catherine Drisk on Instagram, but she wanted to change it to Catherine Asplund. Just so happens, this person's Instagram handle is Catherine Asplund. So Catherine Drisk messages her and says, hi, I was wondering if I could purchase your username from you. Just got married and this is my new name. Then this person responds, hi, congrats. That's my name too. I just Googled and it said selling my username would get me banned from Instagram, which honestly, I didn't know that.
I was going to say, is that a thing?
I'll just trust make that up. I don't know. Either way. Catherine responds, I purchased my username in the past, actually. That's not true. Which that's not how that works. Just because you've done it in the past doesn't mean that it's not a thing that could get you banned.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's a thing, but if it was, maybe you just didn't get caught.
I know. She says, celebrities do it all the time. That's how they all have their handles as their full names. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I was going to say, also, do what I did. Add an underscore.
You can, or, I don't know if I'm going to get some heat from this. I think I've said this before. TikTok, there was someone that had taken my username, but had no posts. It was not an active account at all. So at the time I had a contact from TikTok that a friend had gotten her username from, and they did give it to me. And they were like, okay, you can have it.
You did tell me that because I was like, one day I think she reposted something I did. And I was like, Jessie, how are you verified on TikTok? You've posted 5 things.
I know. I didn't ask them to verify me. They just, they did it. It was like a package deal. It was, I don't know. The lady was really nice, but that's different because that was an inactive account that just took the username and wasn't using it. You know what I mean? And I was like, well,
yeah, it's not like they go and kick people off.
No.
But also celebrities are real people that also just got Instagrams when it started. Maybe they got their real name.
Maybe some of them did get it from the jump and they didn't have to pull any strings. But I guarantee you celebrities would have contacts at Instagram that would give them the usernames. It's not them buying it from people.
For sure.
In the DMs. That's not happening.
I would think if anything, it would be their management or something would do it for them. But also, I don't think they have to.
No, I don't think so. But she goes on to say, I didn't even know this. You could edit DMs now on Instagram?
Oh.
You see how it says edited on top of the third message?
Yeah, no, news to me.
That's interesting. What did it say before? She goes on to say, I see that you're not that active on here, but started Instagram in 2018, but changed your username 3 times. Okay, how do you know that much about me?
Well, actually, I did find out that you could do that when we just brought her up recently, too. Why am I forgetting her name again?
Who?
Julia Ernst.
Oh, right. Oh,
because you could look and see that she had changed it and she had made new accounts for her sandwich account, whatever. But that's something I just found out that you could look at, but you can't see what they changed it to or changed it from. It just says they've changed their username 3 times.
Okay.
But also, why does that matter?
I think that she's bringing it up as you don't really care about those username, do you?
Literally, but it's there could be a multitude of reasons for why you would do that.
Guys, I'm so sorry if you see me touching my eye. I don't know what is happening. There's something in my eye and I think I'm dying. Anyway, the show must go on. So she just told the girl, you changed your username 3 times. She then says, is there any way that I could get you to change your username 1 more time? With a bunch of crying, laughing emojis. Bitch, at that point, there is nothing in this world that would get me to change it for you. Nothing. You can give me $1 billion. I'll be like, not yours.
I think it's her trying to be funny about it.
Really?
But it's go away.
It just pissed me off. So she failed miserably. But the person responds back and says, this is my Finsta. I use it for private stories. I don't want to get banned. Sorry.
I kind of want to Google though. I do think this whole band thing feels
You think it's a lie?
Well, I just what? How would they know? They're terms and conditions strictly forbid users to buy, sell, or transfer any aspect of your account, including your username.
There you go.
I don't think it's for like this reason. I think if anything, it would be because they don't want like hackers selling accounts. Because that's like, remember when Megan's thing got hacked? It was literally like someone sold her YouTube channel.
Well, to me, her Googling it does seem like she was considering doing it. And then she was like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea.
I just like wouldn't even think to Google it.
Yeah, me neither, honestly.
I would have taken the money, honestly.
I don't know if I would have, especially with her attitude. I'm telling you, I am so petty. Pettiness over money any day. Like, I would stand my ground and be like, sorry, can't have it. Like, it just would piss me off too much.
If it was like my actual account, but if it was a Finsta, I'd kind of be like, free money. Like, who cares? But I don't blame her for not doing it.
Maybe I'd do it if she gave me like 50K.
Like, how much is it worth to you?
How much we talking, sister? How bad you want
No, but
it?
I actually am very curious, like, what the dollar amount she was, like, thinking would have been.
How much you want to bet? It was like $200, if that.
Well, and again, like, if it was a Finsta, like, fuck,
Lily.
I'll take $200, but, like...
Have some higher standards for yourself. $200 to sell your account?
For a username that I don't actually really use, like, why not?
But I feel like it's more than that. Sacrificing your dignity. You have to stand your fucking ground. I just would have felt like, and it's clear that this girl felt the same way, where it's just like she felt an icky vibe from this girl and she didn't want to give it to her from the jump.
For sure, and I don't blame her. I'm just saying, I, off the bat, would have been like,
Lily would have taken
talking?
it for a ring pop and a quarter. Okay, so this does continue, and honestly, it escalated very quickly. She says, I actually don't believe that your name is Catherine Asplund. Who would make their Finsta their actual name?
Valid point.
Oh, really? I don't know much about Finstas.
It's supposed to be like your secret account that no one knows is you.
Oh, I thought of it more as like a shit post place where you would just put a bunch of shit you don't care about.
I feel like that would be like an alt account.
I guess I'm not familiar with the lingo, but okay, that makes sense.
Finsta is short for Finstagram or fake Instagram, referring to an account made so a user can post images and interact with other accounts in a more private way, usually reserving the account's followers to close friends. But I feel like I know people that just have Finstas that are like, so they can creep on people without them knowing it's them.
Are you people?
Are you kidding? We've been over the fact I can't do two-step verification for more than one.
I know, me neither. I always think it's so funny when people accuse us of having like fake accounts. I'm like, I can't remember the password for our YouTube account. So how the fuck am I supposed to remember
I'm like,
anything else?
look at our Instagram for this podcast. It's not active.
I forgot we had one. This is so crazy. She continues, I reported you to Instagram and they're actually able to tell me your real name. I really hope I don't know you because that's going to be really embarrassing for you.
I don't even know what she's trying to imply
I
here.
get it. I know what it, oh my God, it just clicked. I know exactly what she's saying. So she is saying, I hope you're not someone in my real life that knows me and is taking this fucking thing and trying to like fuck with me. I feel like she's like, I don't know, has like pretend enemies or something. Do you know what I mean? She seems like the boss, like mean girl boss that is like, this is going to be really embarrassing for you. The irony of that when all of this has caused her to go private, not private, but turn her comments off on absolutely everything is hilarious. I think it's really embarrassing for you.
Yeah, I guess she's implying that someone did this just to fuck with her, but like also, would someone do it to fuck with you or would they do it for money because they don't even want your money?
I know. This whole thing is weird, but she has a very weird energy. The girl replies to her and says, you can report me. She said, just did. Any my fiance is too. I think she meant my fiance is too. What is it? My father, the inventor of toaster strudel.
My father, the inventor of toaster strudel, would not be too pleased to hear about this.
It's giving that. The girl responds, you're asking me to do something to get my account banned. I doubt Instagram would take that lightly. And Catherine responds, I'm asking you to change your username because you were pretending to be someone you're not.
That hunch went to an accusation really quick.
Well, now she's pretending, or at least framing it as that this girl is trying to pretend to be her. She responds, my name is Catherine. And the girl responds, which is illegal.
Not that her name's Catherine, that she's pretending to be her. She says it's illegal.
You know when you try to send a message in order, but the other person responds? I feel like that happens to us all the time.
Yes.
And it just like kind of fucks up your flow. This happened in the most perfect moment. My name is Catherine. Which is illegal.
It happens to me often because I send so many. No, but also like I'm pretty sure it's not illegal to be like an imposter, like or impersonation account. I mean, that's not what this is anyway.
If it was, yeah, I was about to say even if it was, that's not what we're talking about because this girl's not pretending to be her. She just happens to have the same name.
I'm just picturing her going to the police and being like, identity theft, this girl, and they're like, that's an Instagram, and there's no pictures of you on it.
It just is very bizarre to see people blow things out of proportion like that. But I feel like it obviously, I mean, do I need to say it? this is immense privilege.
Not even just privilege, just like straight up entitlement.
Yeah.
But it's like, she came in being like, how, like, let me pay you for this. And it's like, what? Money can't buy everything.
That is a result of her being privileged. Like, she literally was born probably with just everything at her fingertips. And the thought that somebody would tell her no is baffling. She's like, but money, but my fiance. Who the fuck is your fiance? Mr. Asplunt? I don't know him. And also, they look super young. I do have to say, I don't think we mentioned that. I feel like they're like maybe 20, barely that. That's her fiance. Look at him. He looks like he's a senior in high school. Yeah.
I mean, and not that that's an excuse, but it does make me feel a little better that she's this
lost in the life.
Lost etiquette. It makes sense. She has lost all etiquette. I don't know if she ever had it though.
So anyway, back to the conversation. The girl says, nope, you asked me to purchase my username, which goes against Instagram rules. I just reported you. Not them both be like, no, I reported you.
I know.
No, I
like,
reported
my fiance did it too.
Instagram just ignoring all reports because they don't do shit. So then Catherine takes it a step further, sends, I don't even know what is this?
The family I just married into is the only Asplund family in the US.
But like, what is this picture of?
That's literally a Facebook
screenshot?
search. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Because the Catherine Asplunds that came up were foreign or like had like, they're from different places.
No, the only ones that came up are I guess in the US don't have an H at the end of the name.
Okay. So this is her evidence. I get it. It's her
obviously
cold hard
because
facts.
Facebook is the database of all names to exist.
To which this girl responds, I'm not American.
Do you have proof that this is your name? Girl, are you kidding? What?
She said, would love to see that. How about, I don't
fuck
have to show
off.
you shit. There's no world in which I would be as nice to this girl as this girl is being, even though she's like giving her one-liners.
It started at a point that, again, I'd be like, well, how much money are we talking? But then it gets to this, I'm like, why is she even still answering? I would literally have like blocked her by now.
I know. But she does respond. She says, why do I have to send you any proof of who I am? This is my account. I've had it since 2018. I'm sorry we share the same name, but just because you got married doesn't mean you can have my username. If you were nice, I would have considered giving it to you for free, but you weren't. I reported you for asking me to sell my account and another report for harassing me. Have a good day. And she saw that, and apparently she did not respond, but she got reamed to the point that every single post of hers has comments off. And also, in true internet pettiness, the way that the internet works, they have taken every variation of a name that Catherine Asplund can have. They've done Catherine D. Asplund, Catherine Drisk Asplund. Any variation, people have stolen those usernames and kept it for themselves.
You know,
so for that, I do love the internet. But what Marky pointed out that I saw was this fucking TikTok that she posted a little while back.
Something else that low-key bothers me is when girls get married and it's not even like 10 minutes after they're like do their vows. Like they're like, oh, go on my Instagram. Let me change my last name already. I'm probably gonna wait a couple months. I don't know. I just think it's like a little bit a lot when I see girls change it like before I even knew they were fucking married. Like chill. I like Cabot's last name. I think
I can't. I mean, literally, like, how do you come back from that? Well, I mean, I wasn't going to actually use it right away. I was just getting it in place.
Well, that's the vibe that I got from her in the beginning, which is like, this is really embarrassing for you. She is so mean. Like, she gives the most stank ass mean energy. I was gonna say mean girl energy, but I feel like I'm allergic to that phrase at this point.
Well, I just like, what a weird thing to be like pissed about.
And then you go and you fucking did the same thing. Like, she's literally just like,
but like
that's
tenfold.
so tacky.
Like, you didn't just change your name. You were so mad that you couldn't change your name that you were like, this is going to be so embarrassing for you.
I'm reporting you to Instagram, and my fiance is too.
I feel like it's kind of the definition of when people are like, bring shame back.
Yes. Let's feel shame again. Actually, that's so funny that you said that because someone just said that about our next topic. It's hard because I genuinely think that shame is a really hard emotion for me to cope with. Like, I feel like I'm ashamed of things I shouldn't be ashamed of, like everyday interactions and stuff. And it's a very crippling, feeling for me. So I hate the sentiment. But then you see people that lack so much just like consciousness when it's just like, are you here with us now? Like, you're just not in the same world.
It's a different category of shame. Like, I feel like you're talking about like
deep, crippling shame.
Our traumas that are like coming up that, But then I feel like when people are saying bring shame back, it's not supposed to be that deep.
It's like, let's reflect.
Let's bring back self-awareness because like there's so many things that like I wouldn't do because I'm like, oh my God, that would look so embarrassing or that would be so cringy. A lot of people don't have that second step and they just go right into being cringy or embarrassing.
Well, it doesn't seem like she does either. Like,
exactly.
Again, she just turned off all her comments, didn't say anything. I imagine, like, I feel like she's gonna have to say something, but what could she possibly say? It's so embarrassing. But anyway, that's the TikToker, billionaire, whatever the fuck the title is. That's that. But I'm actually most excited to get into our second and last topic. Before we continue, we really quickly want to thank today's sponsor of this episode, and that's Vegamore.
If you're unfamiliar, Vegamore is a beauty brand that focuses on creating vegan, cruelty-free hair care and skincare products.
One of my favorite products that they have is actually their lash serum. I've been using it consistently, and I am wearing falsies right now, so I'm sorry, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it. They have grown so much.
They also have hair growth products for your actual hair as well. There's the serum, there's the revitalizing shampoo and conditioner kit.
My favorite is the scalp massager. That thing gets up in there better than any scalp massager I've owned. But honestly, their scalp serum for itchy and dry scalp, I think that's the name. Oh my gosh, it is so delightful when you have a lot of product buildup, and when you feel icky, you're like, I need to wash my hair. For me, that's like every 2 days. My hair gets disgusting. But their serum you put before you even shampoo at all, and it is just this not minty feeling, but it's just very cooling and nice on the scalp, and it just leaves you feeling squeaky clean, but not dry at all. My hair has honestly been so healthy since I've used their products, so yeah, I'm a fan.
Vegamore actually sells 1 bottle of their Grow Serum every 15 seconds. So, I mean, if that doesn't prove to you that it's pretty effective, and for a limited time, listeners can get 20% off their first order by going to vegamore.com/DWKT and using the code DWKT at checkout.
That's vegamour.com/DWKT and use code DWKT to save 20% off of your first purchase. Vegamore.com/DWKT. Thank you so much to Vegamore for being an amazing sponsor of this podcast. Genuinely,
it came through and hit me like a bus on TikTok yesterday. I was like, what is going on?
It's everywhere. Everyone's reacting to it. So, Raven Symone, where do you know Raven from the most?
I mean, that's so Raven, obviously.
Right, yeah. But were you an avid watcher when you were young?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually interesting because let me see how old Raven's wife is. 1 second.
She's 35.
She's 36.
Oh, well, then maybe at the time of the interview, she was 35.
She's 36, turning 37
so then Raven's
in
38
August.
probably now.
Okay, so that's not a huge age difference because what we're talking about is people's issue with Raven Symone's wife. If you don't know Raven Symone's wife, her name is Miranda Pierman Mayday. Mayday? I don't know. People have had an issue with Miranda, not always. Okay, I do remember there being a pretty united front on like, hey, Raven's married, she's happy, that's amazing. And it really wasn't until they started doing podcast interviews together and talking for an extended period of time that people were like, I don't know if I like this girl. Like, what's her deal?
I think Raven is to blame here too for this part of it, but that I get after you get married, going on podcasts together, if you're talking about the relationship, maybe they're talking about the wedding, anything where it makes sense that she would be there.
Yeah, but it's always been that way from the start. Literally they did videos on Nikocado Avocado's channel together. It was Raven, Miranda, and Nikocado.
That is the most random thing I've ever heard.
And he was farting in front of them. It was awful.
I was today years old when I learned that collab ever happened. But no, I was going to say that it's Raven's fault too, obviously. It's that Raven started bringing her to any appearance in interview that she ever did. I'm all for right off the bat, maybe, if you want to introduce her to people, but then it's why is she here?
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's when I brought Nassim onto my channel, at first, people were really put off. They were like, what is happening? This is not what we're used to. I understand wanting to introduce and stuff, but over time, I just kind of moved further away from that, where I was like, okay, maybe once in a while we'll do a video together. But you're not, I had a channel before you. I mean, I feel in some circumstances it would work. I know that Moses is on Trisha's podcast a lot. I think every episode.
Different scenario,
yeah, but it's also it could work in some places, but for me, I just genuinely feel if your spouse is not in the public eye, which I don't know, I think she's some sort of producer. She's been in the industry is what I'm trying to say, but she has not, from what I understand, been in front of the camera this entire time. I understand where Raven's coming from when she wants to bring her wife. You want to do things with your partner, but I totally agree with you where it's why would you put her in scenarios, especially things like Fanita's podcast? Why would you bring Miranda there?
I think it's pretty much been every appearance anywhere that she's done, she brings her. And I don't think that it's Miranda being please, babe, will you take me with you? They're very much presenting as a unit, but it's but Raven is someone that people want to talk to on her own. Also, when you Google her name, as the title, I think mine, it's American YouTuber or something. It just says Raven Symone's wife.
Oh no. Okay. I know she's done other stuff, but she is probably best known publicly for being Raven Symone's wife.
I'm scrolling a lot and it's hard to see anything other than Raven affiliations. She worked as a personal assistant,
Find something else, Lily. What has she done? I know
a
she's done
social media
something.
manager. Prior to that, she was a former UCLA student and worked as an assistant on film and TV show sets. I mean, I'm not here to shame. No, assistants are legit jobs. But basically, she had no kind of public persona. Raven says that apparently one day she was like, why don't you come move to New York and live with me? We just met. And that she dropped her bills, responsibilities, and job to go do so.
Miranda did?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty normal in the lesbian world, no? From everything I hear, like, I think that's a whole thing, like U-Haul lesbians, where it's just like, let's move in together after like a week.
She also worked as a birth doula.
Oh, period. Okay, well, the reason we're talking about her wife at all is not to get into her accolades professionally, but the internet had a lot of issues with Raven's wife once they went on Fanita's podcast. We've talked about Fanita's podcast for multiple reasons.
I was going to say, it really keeps coming up.
It does. She has a lot of guests and a lot of things happen on there. But this one in particular, like Fanita, she's not afraid to talk. Okay, she's gonna talk and she's gonna say whatever the fuck she feels like, no matter who's sitting in front of her. So she says that she's a huge fan of Raven, which I feel like is pretty public knowledge. I feel like she's posted TikToks on like the Cheetah Girls and stuff like that, which I think a lot of us can relate to. Like, I was a huge Raven fan. What Miranda says in this interview, and it's not even just what she says, it's almost like her energy is what people were commenting on a lot, where it's very much seemed like Fanita and Raven were having a grand old time. They were talking to each other, and then Miranda was there and kind of being like, I wish I knew what you guys were talking about, but I don't. People were saying that a big issue on the podcast was that Miranda was repetitively saying that she did not know Raven, essentially, before they got married. She just, no clue. Like, maybe I've heard of you.
They're comparing her to Simone Biles' husband, being like,
That's the top
I don't
comment
know who she was.
on one of the TikToks that I have.
So Simone Biles' husband, like in an interview, which, P.S., the funniest part about this is like, tell me, who is Simone Biles' husband?
Literally
No one
did
knows
not even know she
because
was married.
His
before that
title
happened.
is Simone Biles. Same. Apparently he is, I
a
want to say,
basketball player.
like literally, I still don't know. He's an NFL player. Yeah.
No, NBA.
So he's
NFL football.
Are you kidding? That's fucking funny. No, but that's like to the point. Like, I still don't know who this man is.
Sorry to this man. You're right. He does play football. My bad. I thought he played baseball.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I was the wrong one.
I mean, I honestly, though, it wouldn't have been surprising to find out that he played
Yeah.
another sport because I still have no idea. But he did an interview, which, like, a lot of people suggest that he probably wouldn't have even gotten the interview if he wasn't Simone Biles' husband because otherwise no one gives a shit who he is. Sorry, but it's true. Then in this interview, he like basically went out of his way to be like, I didn't know who she was beforehand.
Bullshit.
How in the hell did you pull Simone Biles?
And I love this football talk, bro. I gotta get to it.
How did you do that, bro?
Man, it's really how she pulled me, man. That's the question.
Oh,
man.
Lord Jesus. Now you with Freddie. Now it's back. Now
Literally have been on the app for a couple of days, man, and it's like she pops up, and I'm like, let me see who this is. Gymnastics. I ain't never, I never really paid attention to gymnastics, so it piqued my curiosity, So I'm like, okay, I'll see what's up. I swiped her, and it said we matched, so I'm just like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna see what's up. So I go do my workout, and I come back, and I get I had some likes on my Instagram. I didn't know who she was at the time, but like the first thing that I saw was that she just had a bunch of followers. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she got to be good. I promise you, I'm a real life story. When she won the Olympics, I was in college, and we didn't have NBC, we didn't have Olympic channels, and we're in camp. Late July, early August. So I'm not paying attention to, So I never would have had a moment to where I would have watched
Jonathan, I'm gonna let you finish your story, man. Continue.
Literally, I don't give two shits about gymnastics or ever watch it. And I absolutely, like, everyone
She's
knows
one
the
of
name
the only
Simone
people I
Biles.
do know in gymnastics.
The Olympics, even? I'm not an avid watcher, but I still fucking know who Simone Biles is. Like, don't
Yeah, so
insult
people got
us.
really upset, and they were calling him Simone Biles' husband. And she actually, in some sort of interview or response to this, said that, like, she wants to be known as Jonathan Owen's wife. And I was like, Simone Biles, if you don't stand
she
up
was,
right
like,
now,
defending him, and people
I
were even
can't.
mad about that.
I cannot. Also, I'm not saying that you should never end up with a person named Jonathan, but it is my personal belief that you should never end up with a person named Jonathan. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Literally the most generic name in all of America.
Is it? Not my brother's name being Jonathan. Never mind. I was gonna say that. I forgot.
Was it your brother whose birthday it just was?
I forgot.
Anyway, so yeah, but back to Raven. People are framing it in a similar scenario where it's like Miranda was like, I didn't know who Raven was. I have to say, and I'm not defending Miranda, but I didn't get that vibe. I don't think I've seen the Fanita clip actually, but I've seen a bunch of other ones, and I don't get the vibe she's like, who was Raven? Like trying to shit on her. It's more of like this uncomfortable, weird joke that I think they let play out more than it should
I think
have.
we should watch the clip first, and specifically, we should not only watch the first clip, but watch the Xenon clip as well, because that's a very important one. But anyway, we'll start with her saying that she didn't know Raven.
The favorite thing that of Raven's that you've watched, that you've actually given a look.
Before me or while she was with me?
Both.
Because I'd like to know. Actually, I don't. I really like that she doesn't know any of my stuff. Like said, it just makes it easier.
I think that this is really...
I know I shouldn't pause it yet, but I do have to say already that is telling to me. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's telling to me that Raven's like, actually, I like that she doesn't know. That's better. It makes it easier. So it seems like maybe Miranda caught on to that energy early on and very much straight away from like telling her that she knew her before, you know?
And that's the thing. I'm like, I do feel for her because I feel like this isn't like a one-sided thing. This is something that her and Raven have both really like
I totally
fueled.
agree with it, but also why is Miranda wrapped in a blanket? Sorry, that just distracted me really hardcore.
I thought that was a little
She's
weird
the
too.
only
Like,
one
why
like
is she,
completely bundled up. Like she's ready to go to sleep. But anyway, I'll keep watching. But it does, I totally agree with you, feel like both their energies very much want for Miranda to not have known who Raven was, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. It seems almost like it's maybe started as like a playful thing between them, that it was like a joke that not like that Raven was upset about, I don't think by any means. It started as something kind of innocent and then it just became like its own shtick that they would do, and then it got out of control and now they're like, whoa.
I'm really trying to think if I do not think I watched anything and registered
that it was Raven.
That it was Raven
Liza
before
Minnelli.
we were together. Maybe.
But you knew about me.
No shit. I knew who you were, but you just like were not on my radar. I just didn't.
Is it because she was black?
Get out of here, Fanita. Oh my God.
Damn.
This is just the internet.
I'm sorry.
Like nostalgic. And even though I hadn't seen Cheetah Girls before, I was like, I need to watch Cheetah Girls. And then I watched College Road Trip. I think she's having a stroke.
Because you hadn't seen Cheetah Girls before.
Yeah. I know.
Speaking of Cheetah Girls.
You're welcome.
Cheetah Girls, here we go, gonna rock the world. Party cause you know the future's all yours. Dance to your feet, don't touch the floor. Celebrate the day you're waiting for. Party like you're ready for so much more. Do it like you know it's never been done.
Anyway, they really got into it, which I love for them. But 3 years older than you genuinely believe she never saw Cheetah Girls?
I don't know if I've ever watched Cheetah Girls all the way through. And that's obviously not because I wasn't a Raven fan. I was obsessed with That's So Raven. That was like my shit. Because I even had an inside joke with a bunch of my friends about the Cheetah Girls because there was a girl that was on That's So Raven that was on our basketball team.
That kind of adds context. Okay, so you hadn't seen it full through. Miranda is 3 years older than you.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So like, I don't think my sister's seen Cheetah Girls. And she's 3 years older.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting perspective for sure.
That's So Raven, absolutely. I've seen every episode. It's not the same genre as like, it's not like if you watch That's So Raven, you automatically are obsessed with Cheetah Girls unless you were just like a huge Raven fan, which like I liked Raven, but not.
I get it. They're different. Yeah, I do understand what you mean. And it was a musical thing and I understand. But to say that you have not seen That's So Raven, which was what she ended up saying, was like, I didn't really see that.
That feels kind of
while
absurd.
I was young. It feels like that can't be true.
Should I text my sister?
Yeah. Ask her. Let's get what is that called? Some anecdotal evidence. Yeah, I know big words.
Because the only thing that I could say, because I did hear her in a few different, like people were cutting a bunch of clips together, and she says that she never watched That's So Raven, and they were like, oh, you didn't like Raven, blah, blah, and she's like, no, I just like never gravitated towards that show, which weird, because like, who didn't? Like, it was fucking great.
You're about to get confirmation, in my eyes, allegedly, that she is kind of full of shit.
Oh, okay.
And this is when I realized it, because her answer to the Xenon question is insane to me.
Have you seen Xenon Girl of the 21st Century? Have you seen that? Have you watched it?
She didn't watch it.
Yes, I have.
You saw it?
I have seen Xenon. Yes.
Okay. What do you think of it? Did you like it?
I thought Xenon was great. I just don't remember Raven being in it.
Liar.
That's
That's the thing.
you were a main character, were you not? Because my producer, I'm sorry, Derek, I throw you on the bus. He said the same shit this morning. He was like, I forgot that Ray was in that. I was like, wasn't she a main character in the movie?
I was number 2 on the call
Yeah,
sheet.
that's what I'm saying.
But were
It was
you-
with the white girl, right?
Yeah.
Were you in the first one?
Immediately, yes. And the
They
second
did change
one,
her
immediately,
character
yes.
at
Not
one
the
point.
third one. Fair. Not the third one. But definitely the first 2.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I loved it. I just don't remember you in it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's bullshit.
I don't. The only thing I could think is like, not that she's like, I can't remember who Raven's character is. She just like didn't realize that was Raven.
No. Especially when you're married to the person. First of all,
this
Raven is a
this
super
couldn't
standout
possibly be
character
the
in
first
Xenon.
time anyone has ever brought up Xenon to her.
It's definitely not, but one thing I noticed a lot of people pointing out in the comments was the possibility that people forget Black characters a lot, and like a lot of the sentiment was like, oh, they really don't see us. You know what I mean? That's the vibe that was given. It just, I don't know, it just seems weird and like kind of dismissive, but I don't know if it's part of her act, which is like, I don't know Raven who, or if it's genuinely like a deeper thing, you know, because it could not be that. Maybe it's just that she's pretending that she doesn't know Raven because Raven likes it.
I don't know how she means it. I'm not in her head. But for example, Raven being in The Cosby Show. I mean, I was not someone that watched The Cosby Show. I feel like would it have been like repeats? When was The Cosby Show even on?
I did watch The Cosby Show, but I think it was repeats when I was watching
Yeah.
it. Because Raven was already doing That's So Raven when I was watching
Exactly.
The Cosby
Yeah.
Show. And she was obviously a
so
child.
that was a situation where it's like, I don't even know what her character's name, but like I would have recognized the character, but then I didn't put 2 and 2 together that was Raven.
Really? Okay.
Until someone like mentioned that it's Raven, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, of course it is. That makes sense.
But that's different because she was a child and then she's an adult,
Yeah.
and
So,
there is
like,
some differences there. But would you say that like forgetting that she's in Xenon makes sense? She's Xenon's best friend.
No, I mean, I absolutely know who. And then in the second one, she was only on video chat the entire time.
Yeah.
And she had like the palm trees behind her. Absolutely know who the character is. I'm saying maybe she didn't connect that it was Raven, only because she also says she didn't watch That's So Raven. So maybe she just wasn't.
Yeah, but the reason why I have to call bullshit on that is because like maybe if it was a random stranger off the street, you're married to her. You haven't
And
put
that's why
2
I'm
and 2
saying it
together at
feels
this
like
point?
this weird like joke between them where it's like she doesn't know, like she's not supposed
I don't think it's a
to
joke.
know.
I think it's an act.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that Raven likes.
Uh-huh.
And she genuinely is like, oh, my wife didn't even know me. Like, she married me for me. Maybe she wants to believe that. And maybe that's true. I'm not saying it's not true.
It seems like it's a weird like shtick that they play up for the public.
Yeah. And then Miranda's like playing along with it quite heavily. I get a bullshit vibe from her. I do not think she's being honest at all. Like, I genuinely do not think that she doesn't remember Raven and half the shit when she's been married to her for over like 4 years at this point.
And I mean, literally, if you like went on a date with someone, maybe she wasn't familiar with who Raven was before. Before I went on the second date, I would have been like,
oh, everything about them.
Literally,
Your
like,
father's name,
I
your
know everything about
stepfather's
them.
name. It's so funny because when I met Nassim, he didn't give me his Instagram, I don't think. And I found him and I sent screenshot pictures to multiple people. I might have even sent it to you. And I was like, I made out with this guy last night. Like, we are way better at that than we would like to admit. And I think that this just doesn't make any sense in my brain that this will be reality.
like when we met, for example, it was a mutual friend that was like, oh my God, my friend Jessie Smiles, I told her I was coming on beauty break and she's obsessed with you guys. And I was like, who's Jessie Smiles? And then I go, and it said like, you had a shit ton of Vine followers. And I was like, oh my God, I've never seen this person in my life. Do you think I didn't watch like a million of your videos to be like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, because you're a human being. Like,
Yeah,
who's
like,
just
that-
like,
that's just
I'm
normal.
not curious to know
And that's
more.
for a friend,
and especially if
much
you marry the
less a
person.
significant other. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah, no, I do not believe that can be. I don't think a person has that much restraint. Like, I just can't personally believe that.
Then again, I think Raven plays a lot into this, which people aren't really acknowledging as much. Like,
I agree.
What's something that like you tease me about that it's like it happened one time and then you like I feel like there has to be something that I just am not thinking of. But it's like, you know, when something happens once and then you give someone
Yeah.
a hard time and then it just becomes like an ongoing thing and it's like one person says it and the other one's like, oh my God, like
So
no,
what
I
you're
don't-
thinking is maybe like on their first date or something, she was like, no,
Yes.
I actually, like, I know of you, but I've never seen your work, and it just snowballed.
Yes.
It's like a whole thing
Literally.
that she has to commit to now.
Because, I mean, even how Raven just reacted to that, she was like, oh, like she hasn't seen Xenon, because she's just like automatically like shuts down any kind of like.
Interesting. I do think people are failing to acknowledge Raven's part in all this, but I absolutely think that she prefers that. She didn't want to marry someone that married her just for fame and maybe just leaned way too into it.
Exactly.
And then that made Miranda lean way too into it. I do think she should have been honest from the get-go. Like that would have helped the situation. It's like, oh yeah, of course I know you. Like I know your stuff. Yeah, but let's have a separate relationship from that. But appreciate that person's work.
Well, and then the only other thing that I was thinking going into it, which she makes it clear this wasn't the case, because I think she says she was watching like Lizzie McGuire and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it was like weird that she wouldn't have seen Raven, because like who wasn't watching That's So Raven? Oh, did I text my sister? You watched That's So Raven? Yes. She says no.
Oh, and she's how old?
She's 3 years older than me, so 36.
36. Okay.
30, oh my God,
Shit.
37.
Oh. Wait, so did she watch Lizzie McGuire?
Yes.
Oh, so
she
that's
goes,
weird.
no, I knew of it, but never watched. She was like, I don't even know what it's about.
What? There is a person that posted a TikTok. We don't have to watch it. It was just basically the like public reaction to Miranda on the podcast, which was essentially, you're full of shit. Like you definitely knew who Raven was. And Miranda actually commented on this on April 21st and said, oh my gosh, thank you for this amazingly detailed video. She's obviously being sarcastic. It's hard to stay home when I make the intros and book our podcasts, because I think she was like, stay home, stop being on the podcast. She says, also, I was 13 when That's So Raven came out, not 5. So basically saying, hey, I was kind of past that age group.
That's So Raven came out in 2003, which means I was 13. So she was 16.
Oh, well, there you go. That's even like, yeah.
That makes more sense why she wouldn't have seen it, like 13-year-old. Absolutely.
But like, no, I'm sorry. That's So Raven, they were in high school during that show. Like it was very much geared towards kind of high school kids.
Yeah, but it's weird though to see my sister didn't watch it too, because I literally like, otherwise we watched all the same things.
Honestly, I would have been with her had it been like, hey, I didn't really see That's So Raven, whatever. The Xenon thing is really what formed my opinion, where I'm just like, okay, so you saw the movie, you loved it, you just didn't remember she's in it. That's so weird.
That was my point earlier. It's that maybe it's not that she doesn't remember like once she found out that was Raven, but she just didn't connect the dots that character was Raven, you know?
But anyway, the reason why we are here today is because Raven has done a like video with her wife, of course.
This is the first thing I saw, and I was like, what happened? Jesus.
Yeah, it showed up on my For You page, and I was like, oh, let's just give it a watch. But basically, she's calling out all the hate that Miranda got because of what we just showed you.
I'm here with Miranda, my wife, to tell you to stop it in the comments and stop with the death threats in her DMs. It is disrespectful to her and in turn disrespectful to me. Stop it.
It's really become wild. I hope to clear the air right now and letting you all know that I never have once said that I did not know who Raven was. I only ever said that I did not grow up watching That's So Raven. I did not watch her as a child. But since getting married and meeting her in 2015, I have seen the majority of her work. I've also been at a lot of this work. So I mean, backstage at The View, 25 words or less. The list goes on and on. I love That's So Raven. I think she should have won all the Emmys. I think my wife is endlessly talented. I support her beyond. She also just isn't Raven Symone to me. You guys must try and open your minds a little bit and understand there is more behind people that are celebrity. There is real life here. And that's why we're feeling inclined to address this, because I'm receiving so much hate for something that is really just a big spiral of internet misinformation.
And for all of the blue checks out there acting like trolls, sit down. Just thank you. No need.
Thank you next.
Not her saying thank you.
Okay, if you're curious why we're laughing, specifically, you have to be a listener, I would assume, if you're wondering why we're laughing. Raven's faces throughout this video, do a retake, keep it like,
she might as well be sitting there just like,
So she obviously looks very angry, but in almost a theatrical way, which actually reminds me of That's So Raven, ironically.
Literally, the whole thing, with no context, I saw this come up on my feed, and I didn't know this has been like an ongoing thing for them. I was like, is this a joke?
This is like a parody of something.
Because you said you haven't seen That's So Raven.
Okay, I believe that because people will send death threats for anything. What I gathered most from this video was Miranda being inconsistent in her stance on things, because The Fanita podcast happened in 2024. It happened probably last month and it aired, you know? So how are you going to say that since you met your wife in 2015, you put in the work to understand her work and understand everything she's done, and yet you're going to sit on Fanita's podcast last month and be like, you were in that? Like, I didn't even know. Like, that doesn't make any sense. To me, it says a lot that Raven, I mean, they're married. They spend the majority of their days together, and she's going to genuinely, like, her first answer is like, she hasn't seen that. So obviously, you sitting here saying that now you've studied all her work, you've seen everything, doesn't match up with the energy on that podcast, which was like, of course she hasn't seen it. Like, no. So it's just kind of like, don't flip the switch when we're like, we have, you know what I mean? Like, we saw you say that.
First of all, the fact that Miranda has to be like, I think she should have won all of the Emmys. Like, okay, calm down. Sure, she should have won Emmys, but like now you're doing too much. The overcorrect is a lot. But then Raven saying thank you, but like stand down, basically.
I'm sorry, but the memes that have come from this and the comments and stuff are so funny. The main meme I saw was someone reposting and saying like, when the teacher comes back from you having a substitute, and it was very much giving that energy. Someone said, now we got silent lunch. Like, that's the vibe we got. It's like, we're in trouble with mom or the teacher and we're fucked. Oh my God, this comment says, why Raven looking at me like that? I didn't even say anything.
It seems like they both played into something that started as like an innocent like teasing between them, and then it got out of control and they were both like, whoa, it wasn't true.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is kind of a weird lesson in how not to handle. I get it. Okay, death threats and stuff are scary. I personally don't take much offense to them. No, we don't condone it, but I also don't take much offense to them. Like, I've gotten plenty in my day. It's just very much like, okay, go off, I guess, then, queen or king. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not very much scared of people speaking on the internet. I feel like the internet allows people to speak. That's what they do. So I just like, I don't put a lot of weight on it. I understand why it could scare certain people for sure. But I also just feel like this is such a bad way to handle that kind of hate, because I think that the majority of people were not sending death threats. The majority of people were clowning on Miranda.
Do you get the vibe? I don't think that she like feels scared for her safety. I think they're just like really annoyed because it's...
I mean, but Raven seems fucking pissed. She's like, enough with the death threats, enough with this. Like, it just seems like when you tell the internet not to do something, people haven't really figured out that just makes them want to do it more.
And then also, like, for example, like, I didn't even know that this was a narrative that was happening before. So it's like them talking about it made it like way more...
Oh, right, because you saw this without any context from the Fanita podcast. Yeah. I had seen the whole thing unfold, so I knew
so it made people,
addressing.
I think, then, like, anyone that didn't know about it now is looking into it and commenting on it like
That's
us right now. Like, we wouldn't be saying anything if they didn't make the video about it.
That's, what is it called? The Streisand effect? No, that's when you sue someone.
I can name a few other people that have played into that. I mean, also back to what we said, that Miranda doesn't have, like, her own following or anything that people are following her for other than Raven. So now the only thing that she's probably getting are people being like, you don't even love your wife. And so, like, I get why that would be annoying. But also, maybe you shouldn't have played into this weird dynamic between you guys that both of you are guilty of, I think.
Yeah, I think that it's a team effort with this. I definitely think they both have contributed to this weird dynamic, but I think this was the wrong way to go about it, because now forget it. It's memeing, it's people talking about it. I mean, we're talking about it because of that video. So it's just, it's not what they wanted. And I think that they can kind of take a page from just like, let people have their little haha moment. Imagine like Ariana Grande coming on the internet and being like, Ethan Slater's a good man. Like, it was just like completely like...
She kind of did.
Did she?
You know that interview where she was basically like, everyone misunderstood, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, but that was very vague. It wasn't like a, you need to know.
No,
like, you know what I mean? Because
Exactly
that's what the internet just wants to do, what they think they can't do. That's their specialty. I don't know. I think all in all, I do wish them well. They've been married for quite a while. They do seem happy and whatever and all that stuff. And I just think, let the internet do what the internet does and be happy in your own world. I do think it's unfortunate that Miranda probably lied on their first date and now has to stick to it for the rest of her life. But, you know, that's not my life.
It is absurd to me, though, that if she's really getting death threats over this.
People say they're getting death threats for anything. Like, I don't feel
I'm aware.
surprised by that.
But it's like, if that's true, really, guys? Like, this is what you're that upset about?
I know, like, who
Raven
cares
doesn't
that
care
much?
that much if she's married to her.
But yeah, all in all, I do wish them well. I don't think this is anything like insane. It's it's weird. It was notable because it was like, oh, okay.
It just blew me away because I was expecting it to be like, she's being canceled for something really... It was just like, wait, what? She's never seen That's So Raven. That's why everyone's mad.
Or Xenon.
Like, it's
or
weird,
she has seen Xenon, but she didn't know that her wife was in it. Anyway, we will move on to our We Love the Internet. I unfortunately have quite a long one, but it's fortunate. I will stop it halfway, maybe. It made me laugh.
How long is it?
I don't know. Just a decent amount of time, I suppose.
Pass the phone to somebody who went missing for several days. After his concerned family contacted the local authorities, they proceeded in an investigation.
The dog.
Neighbors told the police that he had simply gone to Cuba and he had borrowed luggage to do so. But the family was confused. How could that be possible? He's never been to Cuba. He's not Cuban. He doesn't know anybody in Cuba. So after a concerned family member, aka me, contacted the U.S. Embassy in Cuba, they promptly told her that it was simply impossible that he could be there, or he would have already been on their radar. She reported this back to her family, who became even more concerned. If he wasn't in Cuba, where could he possibly be? Is he having a mental health crisis? What's going on? And then 3 days later, he showed up off of an American Airlines flight from Cuba, where he had been on a remote farm with no running water or electricity, selling car parts for money as his last big adventure.
Good afternoon. How are you, fellows? My name is Luis. I am the grandfather of Sky Emison. I think in this survey, I think she is the best lawyer in the United States. Now, I think that is Donald Trump hire her, to be
Donald Trump hired her.
Sure that Donald Trump is going to be clean.
Pass the phone to somebody who, after returning from his adventure trip to Cuba, immediately had a life-altering stroke 1 month later.
See, yes. In this moment, I have a great time because I am with my granddaughter.
Pass the phone to somebody who got into a fist fight with Jose Canseco after he tried to swindle him for doing a shoddy construction job on his home gym in the 90s.
Okay, right now we are eating, some Peruvian food.
Pass the phone to somebody who, when his son was in his 20s, stole his car and then crashed it into Indian Creek, having to be airlifted by a helicopter.
Thank you.
Pass the phone to somebody whose ex-wife, who he had a restraining order against, stole his granddaughter's phone in middle school. Yes, mine.
Oh, it's all right, no problem.
Pass the phone to somebody who...
He said, oh, he's all right, no problem. I was crying when I saw that. And honestly, it brought back good but also horrible memories from when my grandma had dementia. She would sometimes say the funniest shit. I'm not saying he has dementia, but like the fact that he flew to Cuba, I was like, if my grandmother could have done that, she would have done that. Like, she just physically couldn't do it. But like the stress of a grandparent when they're kind of senile and going through it is so horrendous, but also kind of hilarious at the same time. And yeah, good times.
I literally just don't even know what just happened.
He was just basically rambling and saying that his granddaughter is the best lawyer in the United States and that she should be Donald Trump's lawyer, and that hello, yes, okay, no problem.
Oh my god,
that's basically the translation. But he seems like a very nice man. Wishing you the best, abuelo.
Wow, that was quite the experience. Okay, so this girl, I feel like every time I see one of her videos, I'm always like giggling. She's the one that had the sound go viral that's like, how hard can it be? Boys do it. And then she pauses and she goes, how hard could it be? Boys do it.
Yeah,
so
I know that sound.
Love that. She'll like randomly pop up in my feed and I always think that's funny. This one, it's that she commits so hard to the delivery and you think it's going to be something dramatic and it's just something so
I posted an Instagram story
absurd.
last night that had a lot of people really upset with me, a lot of people angry, a lot of people feeling hurt by what I said and asking for explanations. And I want to make it very clear, I am not here to apologize. I am here to double down because I stand by what I said. I actually couldn't agree with myself more. I posted a story that read something to the effect of, I feel like I haven't talked enough recently about my beef with Golden Doodles. I want everyone to know it's still there and it's still strong, because it's important for me to be transparent with you. And that's a belief I've held for years, is that like I am at my core kind of always beefing with Golden Doodles, and I wanted to bring that to the forefront.
Right, I told you, I'm like, I don't disagree.
So you guys know who I am as a person, and like that's a big tenet of my personality. for better or for worse, oftentimes for worse, and it's just there, and I've had to make peace with it, and you do too. And so I got one of two responses. I got so many people replied to that story in a way that I did not have time for. The first response was people sending me pictures of their golden doodle as if that would literally change my mind. Oh, but how could you think that about... You are barking up the wrong tree. That's a dog pun. Also, let me make it abundantly clear. I am a dog person through and through. I literally love dogs. Golden doodles, with so much peace and love, get out of my face. Get out of my face. And then I had a lot of other people being like, okay, explain. Like, can you explain this? I'm like, yes and no. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, it's an inherent belief system that I stand by and I always have. What it is at their core, I do think that they are government spies. I think they're plants.
I understand that too.
I want to also make it clear, I am a sane person. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Golden doodles, like, where did they come from? Why are they everywhere? Also, there's very little evidence to support the fact that they are not humans zipped inside of a suit, a fur suit. Like, have you ever seen a dog and you're like, you're acting a little too human? Chances are it was a golden doodle. There's just something so off about them,
Yeah,
and I think I'm one of
eyes.
the only
I
people that's
agree.
willing to like speak on it publicly. I don't know.
The fursuit comment really got me.
I mean, I think they're cute, but I understand what she's saying without any way to explain it.
The comments that were so funny, like golden doodles equal uncanny valley.
Poodles have very human eyes. I don't know that that's necessarily it. I can't put my finger on it. If you figure it out, leave it in the comments below. That's where we'll leave you. If you guys made it to the end, we very much appreciate it. And we hope you had an amazing weekend. And as always, we will see you on Friday.
We'll have something
Bye.
better next week.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Cheers.